he knows how to draw a crowd, that's for sure. Neil McCullough is the head of architecture at the Bank of Queensland, and he has some excellent insights for us on how LeanIX has become the unassisted advisor to the bank, which gives you a much more data-driven and informed decision-making process, yes?
Yes.
Please welcome Neil.
Thank you. Yep. Good afternoon, everybody. Hope you're enjoying the day. I'm going to give you some insights of our journey using LeanIX at the Bank of Queensland. Also, I love enterprise architecture. I love solution architecture. So the outcome of that, as I talk faster, my accent comes back, and I start sounding like my dad on a Saturday night after a couple of whiskeys watching the football. So if I get too fast, say, slow down, okay? So a bit about me and Bank of Queensland. So 2 daughters, Magic, of course, I love that. Wife, everything else. I love the Matildas. Love Dundee United and Liverpool. So that's me largely in a nutshell. Bank of Queensland, we were started in 1874, one of Australia's oldest banks. And we have 3 retail brands, ME Bank, Virgin Money, and also Bank of Queensland Retail. We're a mid-tier bank, one of the better, I think. There's certainly one, but we've got, I think, 5th or 6th in the country in terms of size of customers. We have also a business bank section, and the marketing team went a bit crazy here. They're called BOQ Business, BOQ Finance, and B&Q Specialists. So, very groovy names for those brands, but they do fairly well in specific markets. Like all parts of the world, we're a big bank that has multiple tech and all that kind of stuff. So a product like LeanIX is good for us. So that's Bank of Queensland, right? I'm going to talk today about architecture and how being data-driven gives you sustainability and gets you to the C-suite in organizations. And you can only do it through data, right? But most today, general points, we're all the same boat. We're all architects, right? All practitioners. Information is usually point in time. It was great a year ago. Is it relevant? Who knows? It's unconnected to other things. It's inconsistent. You've got breadth, you've got depth, but you haven't depth on certain things. You haven't got everything. We are, of course, ourselves, our own business managed tech in our own backyard. We're probably the first. I'm happy to design the process. Don't ask me to follow it, usually. And it requires some kind of hero to sponsor to keep it going. You need somebody strong there to keep you going, to keep you funded as a department in its own right? So because of the whole of the above, we tend to struggle for the long term as a practice to keep on going. You end up, the new CIO comes on board and he says, we're engineering led. Love the engineers, you're gone, kind of thing, right? So how do you make sure that enterprise architecture adds value consistently, continuously, right? And that's what I think we've achieved. Don't ask the CIO that question. So what about us? We are no different than anybody else, which really surprises everybody. We've got duplication of tech, no big surprises. We're actually an acquisition bank. So for many years, it's been much more acquiring banks. And what they tend to have done is brilliant, got it, let's get the next one. What about integrating it? And they go, wow, I'll do that later. It'll happen naturally, won't it? Tends to not. Of course, you end up lots of duplication. We've got end of life, end of support, who doesn't, right? Partial documentation, especially if you acquire banks that have been running for 5 years, their documentation, there is nobody who knows about that system running in the back in that server, and you go, what is that? Who knows? The design, we've all been there. It's a beautiful PowerPoint. It's on whiteboards, boxes, lines. It's brilliant. What went into production is nothing like that. So in every project you all rock up in, first thing you say says, I got the documentation. What's actually in production? So it's a complete disconnect often. Not always, of course, but inconsistent data, nothing new there. But we also have a very strong business unit. So our retail bank, business bank, HR, finance, etc. are very strong individuals, and they have very powerful voices. And after all, it's their money, not mine. So therefore, they have a lot of sway and a lot of, no, but I love Salesforce. The guy at the tennis last week said it was great. Give me Salesforce. And you've got to have that argument again why it's not a great idea. Lots of that, right? But ultimately, what you've got is hundreds of dots of information all over the shop of different value everywhere, right? That's kind of where you end up. So, what is the value of architecture itself? What do we actually do as a job, right? And I've come to this realization over the last few years is we are not decision makers. We think we are, but we're not. That's not our job. Architect's job is to point out the impact of decisions, not to make the decision. So for example, I want to go left, and you go, take Salesforce. It's brilliant. Who doesn't want to do that? It looks easy. The marketing, the brochures say it's really glossy, I want to do that. I want to go SAP, banking, or CRM. You know, opposite ends of the spectrum for different reasons. Both are not wrong. Both are right, depending on the information you have to hand, right? But what we're doing is pointing out the dots about, yes, but did you know that the data is insufficient to put it into that system, but it is in that system? Did you know that if you put it on the cloud and you get your customer data, you've got to have an APRA obligation signed off by APRA to get it there. If you take this version, you don't have to sign off by APRA. And all that kind of stuff. We are the knowledge custodians to be able to help them make an informed decision. When you have any solution architecture and you have problem space, key decision, option A, B, C, nobody makes the wrong decision on purpose. It looks like it retrospectively, it's like, why did you go there? But in reality, it's not deliberate. What that is lack of information at the point in time of the decision. Maybe you made the decision too early. Maybe you didn't have informed information. Maybe you didn't see something else going on. You didn't know it was any support. You didn't know that another project was working on it. You didn't know that some other back office process is moving on to Azure at the same time. Somebody else is buying a SaaS version of it. You've got no idea. Our role is to connect the dots to go, don't do that. Don't go left. Go right because of X, Y, and Z. Is a recommendation, but not the decision. That's the decision makers who have the actual money, our stakeholders. So you've got to connect the dots, right? The problem, of course, in dots of data is what you focus on. So, for example, we put in LeanIX about 18 months ago. I did make the call. Somebody else did before me. It was brilliant. Thank you very much. So I went, that's great. So we then got to implement it, right? So what do you focus on? And data quality is the number one thing. Right? So you are snookered if your data is wrong. We all know that. You've been up there and you presented, you get a 15-page pack, it's brilliant. And some muppet at the front goes, yeah, but in page 4 it said 2 and 2. You said it equals 5 in the page 16 or something, right? And you go, yeah, but what about the content? Data matters to decision makers. You have to make it right because it undermines your argument, undermines your influence. So it has to be correct. And it's something we use LeanIX or any other technology tool. If the data doesn't add up and it's not valid, they question everything else around it. So you can undermine all your value very quickly. Process embedding. How do you get the data consistently correct? So we spent a long time looking for processes to get the data sustainably high quality. That became a really big target for us. How do you get it? So we found parts of the organization in the SDLC process that we can hook into and say, that bit there, that's a bottleneck. Let's put ourselves in there and then get it right. Great example is when we go to production today, they now, as part of the process, say, where's the LeanIX number? And they sort of look around and they go, I forgot to tell them in architecture. Because, it's only a SaaS, doesn't matter. So they don't put them in production until they go back, put it in LeanIX, which gets pushed to ServiceNow, and then it's automatically. And then ServiceNow, they check. Oh, there you go, there's the check, right? What that means is they've got to get the data correct in LeanIX to be able to get it there, which is self-sustained from a data quality. And it means that the likelihood of getting other parts of data correct grows with that, right? KPIs. One thing we found to try and embed it is how can we make sure it's going to hear all the time? So we went looking for measures in the bank that actually are absolutely mandatory to generate, and we're going to deliver it. So we have to report to APRA, which is the regulator look over boards, banks. The thing called end of support, and there's also moving to the cloud and different measures. We generate out of LeanIX today, and we give it to the board, who give it to APRA. So we become part of the food chain of the data, which means get that right, Neil. That data cannot be wrong. So what that means is we built a whole bunch of processes around that data point, and then they rely on it, and they use it, right? And that's quite cool, because suddenly they look at that one data point and they go, well, if you got the one next to it as well, we go, we happen to have that. And they go, you beauty, let's have a look at that. I've got time classification, I've got data classification, I've got criticality all around it. And suddenly, as Brandon was showing earlier, you can cut and dice it different ways very quickly, pardon me, and you can see more data. And then that launches to the next thing, right? So you get your users there. The next thing is about accessibility. If they can't get to it, it does not exist. In architecture, all the stuff we do beautiful whiteboard shots, we do beautiful PowerPoint packs, but if nobody ever sees it, it does not exist, no matter in our heads how brilliant it is, right? Current or future states, right? You can spend a long time doing the current state. We've all known that, right? And in our world, that's a nightmare because half of it's undocumented. So we made a decision not to do current state in LeanIX. What we made the decision to do, as a project comes up, they have to draw, or how they have to implement in LeanIX the current state they're using, and then draw the future state. But we're not actively going out to look for the stuff that's not been changed. Just like that'd take forever, right? In fact, Craig, my CIO, goes, "Hey Neil, when will this LeanIX thing be finished?" And I went, "Never." And he went, "Oh no, another one. God, you sound like ServiceNow now, right?" So, and then of course you've got other stuff. Do you focus on the initiatives? Do you focus on the integration? We've got a gazillion data points of integrations, asynchronous, synchronous, event and streaming. It's everywhere, right? I don't know half of them. Nobody does mostly, right? But you can kill yourself trying to make it right. Get it in, get bits right, focus on A part quality and grow from there is what we've found works. What we have found, and what we've recently got into, and it's very good, is the initiative side. So ServiceNow has all the initiatives. We now get those initiatives into LeanIX. And then we've started tagging the impacted applications, the IT components are part of initiatives. And then when I go through architecture governance, I say, show me the template of initiatives and the impacted IT components that come with it, right? And that becomes part of the artifact they bring to architecture governance. So then, and then I said, okay, now you've also to give me, using the drawing tool, which is Draw.io, it's pretty cool, draw the picture using the artifact. And every box has to have an entry as a fact sheet. So the process or whatever, right? And I've just got an agreement last week, and I'm super excited, is the process guys have agreed as part of any new initiative, they're going to, just checking the time there, they are going to use, the process analyst is going to use LeanIX and connect the change processes tagged to the initiatives. So when you come up, I've now got the manifesto almost of the initiative and all the impacted processes, data integration once they're there, and all of the applications that are changed per project. It gives you like a manifesto, right? So when they go at the end of that process, at the end of all their sprints and agile scrums or whatever, the engineering guys, they build it at the end and they go into production. That's the manifesto they check off. They've actually done it, right? It's quite good. And then the last thing, promote, right? We're in the sales game at the end of the day. Architects, we're all salesmen, really. I reckon most of us can sell snows to the Eskimos without too much hassle. So we've got to promote this thing, right? You have to promote it. So what I've got is we've called this the unassisted architect. You can't scale us out. So LeanIX becomes our unassisted architect when I'm not there. So my tagline, my email, if I'm not available, click here. And you can have a look yourself when I'm not around. And as long as they trust the data, you're all good, right? If it's data rubbish, then it's kind of self-defeating. But we spent about a year trying to get the data right. But the word, the unassisted architect, landed with the business. They really liked the term because in the banking world, it's very expensive to serve customers. Got the assisted journey, but the unassisted is dead cheap because it's not cheap. It's digital, and therefore they like the analogy of an unassisted architect. That's what we're doing, right? So you want to be the dot connector? You're the architect with the dot connector. I've got all my data here. I can line up. This is the processes. This is this. Connecting. Here's the data. There's the process. Blah, blah, blah. Data is the answer. That is everything we need. It's there, right? Suddenly we are scalable. Because when you're in the room, and you're always making decisions. Hey, Neil, but was that end of support? And you go, hold on a second. I don't know the answer to that one, but in a second I shall. And the time it's taking you to say that, you've gone and found it out, and you've got the answer. And after a while, what we've found, the executives start to trust you because it's right? The information's just there. And what we've found is the risk guys love us. It's a strange stuff. We didn't pick them as a particular department, but the risk guys within the bank, because bank's all about risk, and they're really big in our world, and so they should be as well, please. They've seen it, and they can get all these data points like that. Who's the IT owner? Who's the business owner? Who's the SME on that? What's the IT criticality on it? What's the thing? Where's the data classification? You just get it. It's all there, right? But data is the answer. So I hope you like the little thing on the right, by the way. That's my wife's idea. She thought it was great as well. And have a bland pack. Neil, why don't you grow up the dots as you go in the story? Just in case you haven't noticed. I'll tell her you thought it was a great idea, okay? And so what we've done and how to help our users is we use portals. We're a heavy user of portals. We have in the hundreds of users in our system. It's great, right? So now, as architects, we look at portals and we go, it tells me nothing, a couple of fields, it's really bland, it's boring, it's a 2D version, right? But for a risk person, it's gold. It's there, it's easy to use. If only LeanIX had an and button on the tabs, that would be really, really good. It's currently only an or, but that would be great. So in this example, we use Temenos as a banking platform. So there's 8 of them, as you can see. So I put the whole lot, it's just over the IT components, no big deal, list them all, buttons of descriptions. You can filter on in production, extended support, so we can get extended support applications just like that from the risk guys. Click on one, click on with a tab, of course, and you go across here and it's got more information here, right? Simple as, and that covers 95% of their data needs. So we spoke to them, what do you want to know? So I've got my business owner, Bob, responsible business owner, IT owner, SME, enterprise architect, blah, 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 right? On the right-hand side, a whole bunch of stuff they think is really important for them on a moment just like that, and they go through it, and they use it all the time. So what they use, this is their world of the unassisted architect. This is what they think it is, right? Then you can see with the sliding bar, there's a hell of a lot down there. There's lots and lots of bits. One of the cool things we've got is we've actually got a link to the current state or a state, the diagram of this thing's in, and we link to dynamically to the diagram, right? Drawn in LeanIX, so you're staying within the world. And the other cool part we've done is you can see they can't find something in the wrong information. What we found is the guys would come along and they're going, that's brilliant, but it's wrong. And I go, yeah, I know, but thank you for letting me know. Can you update it? And they go, I couldn't be bothered, I got to send you an email. So what we did is we actually changed these buttons. I think they're called Help Me or something on the out-the-box version. So for example, the wrong information, click here. What that does, it takes a deep link into the to-do list of the fact sheet for that piece of software, and you can create it directly in LeanIX. So you don't have to go to Jira or email or something else, right? It became a very cool way of staying within the product and not having to go external. Doesn't get used too much. They prefer to phone me up and say, hey, Neil, it's wrong. I'm like, all right, whatever. Now, stuff like that. So that's how we've used it. And now a lot of people use this all the time. And it becomes the main way of getting the data correct. So I was talking about embedding strategic KPIs. So we could build the dashboards. And when everybody says, hey, Neil, can I have the access to the Excel button, please, so I can export it, so I can do my own thing? I go, what for? And I say, OK, let me make you a dashboard of what you want, right? That usually what happens. And that's quite cool, because then they go, brilliant, I can get what I want. And we usually cover it, and it's nice colors and motion and all that kind of stuff. And I always say, and don't worry about being out of date, because it's not. It's the most frequent data, and they love it. So in this example here, the one thing we've done is rather than call it LeanIX, we called it Navigator. And it's quite deliberate at BOQ's architecture. So we talk an awful lot about having strategic direction, North Star. We gave out compasses to a couple of people and all that kind of stuff. And we call this the Navigator. The unassisted architect is it navigates the company to a better place, a strategic direction out of this towards a transformation journey. It's all that kind of thing, right? So we use it in a lot of our newsletters. It's marketing, largely. So all we're trying to do. We're trying to keep this fresh, top of mind. How do we keep it going sustainable? In this example, you can see on the left, we have to report to the board how many new things we brought in and how many things we take out, decommissioned. So we have it here. You can see, for example, FY23 Q4 in June, we took out 3, we added 3, December 4, et cetera, et cetera. We've got them all there. All nice, just data. Just plop it up, comes on the screen, and then we had to build a whole process around it. So we don't just casually chuck it up every month. It's all verified, a workflow, et cetera. We built in a formal process. On the right-hand side, obviously, I hope you think that's not our environment. There's only 50% that's not end of support. But you can see I had to change it to hide the innocent, the guilty. So you can see here very quickly, everything in production, I've got, in this example, 30% is end of support. Just like that, right? And they love it. I mean, you and I were all going, it's a simple pie chart of a couple of numbers, come on. But the risk guys are going, I've got access to the data. They think it's great, right? We're going, all right, whatever. Next. Now, my favorite picture. Now, at Bank of Queensland, we're doing a transformation journey. We are transforming a number of different banks that we've acquired over a number of years to a future digital bank. We're digitizing, simplifying, optimizing the bank within a risk framework and everything else. Part of that journey is deprecating a whole bunch of tech and moving to a glossy future. So it's actually quite hard to show that impact. Now, the business guys, they've got this beautiful PowerPoint, it's a roadmap, 5-year, 3-year journey, big boxes, and they go, this and that, beautiful. And you go, what is that, right? I mean, you've said Temenos, and you've said another tech. The other 325 that sit below it that make it real, where's that? They go, oh, well, that's your problem. You're the tech guys, right? What we've been able to do here is attach to all the roadmaps initiatives. So we've got the retail transformation initiative, tagged everything to it, have all the decom dates when based upon the plan to do it, the time classifications, make sure all of the things that migrate, eliminate, has a successor, et cetera, and put it in a chart like this, right? So I'm up here presenting to the execs, and I go, tell you what, you know that stuff you've been promising? And they say, well, we need to do it by 20, we've promised the market FY22, 25, whatever. This is not real names, they're dates. And they've gone, yeah, we're going to do that. We're going to spend X dollars, we're going to get that. And I go, no, you're not. You're going to end that date there, and you're not going to be finished. And they go, no, you have to. We've said to the market, we're going to do X, Y, Z, right? And I said, so no. This, if you look at all the data, because I've got it all now, and your team helped me verify all this stuff, that's where we're going to end up. So what this is showing on the gray bar and the orange line is how many apps we've got today. And over a period of time, I might got at the end. And then I've got when they are dropping based upon initiatives we know about that are funded in the bank. This isn't it, of course. And this, I have to repeat that part. This is the when they will drop. And they're going, oh, no, that's not going to work. I need it about there. Like, well, that's not going to happen then. So you can start to see it. And it gives it real data points, right? And that's where our connecting the dots and having data is brilliant for us. You go, yep, there you go. And then what we've found, and we actually presented something similar to the board, and they went, this green line here, they said, how many is that? And I clicked on it, and I said, it's X, and that's them. And they went, we can't do all that in the same quarter. And I said, slow hand clap. And they went, yes, you can't. So they had to shift. So they started to change the funding to move it into smooth out the decom. Because in a decom for a banking system of customer data, you've got to archive it, you've got regulatory, how long you keep it for, blah, blah, blah. We don't have an enterprise architecture, enterprise archiving solution. I said, well, let's start that journey here to get that part in and add a new app called Enterprise Archive or whatever, right? And what this gives you in a chart, and then you can filter which ones are end support, Neil. I'm like, oh, no worries. I click on filter end support systems, and you get the picture when end support systems are taken out based on the transformation journey. And of course, if they're all red here and they're still all there, you've got to invest money in your end support systems earlier rather than waiting for transformation because you're carrying the risk from an app perspective for too long. Things like that, right? And all it is data, but it's magic. So, is tomorrow looking better for us, right? The cool thing, I was looking at the stats, working with Frank, and thank you. I have to really name people here. So Tom and Capiche, Frank and Lance are the main 3 people that have got us where we are today. We wouldn't be here, so thank you very much. It's a brilliant effort. 5% of our users are in architecture in my team, which is great, right? It means the other people are using it, and half of them aren't even in group tech. So I've got the risk people, the BAs, the process people, the business folk are looking at our data, which is magic. They're not all forming up saying it's wrong, which is good. In the banking world, I'm not sure if it's happened in other industries, got a thing called critical, I got the name wrong, critical data element. It's something you have to report to APRA that this piece of data, where its lineage, how it got from A to B, how it's transformed, and the validity of it. And you only get like 25, 30 in a bank kind of thing. We've managed to get 2 of them into LeanIX. We're going to produce to the APRA and whatnot, 2 particular data elements, and they're going, that is cool, because what it means is you have to build the processes around it, and if it's in LeanIX, you've actually been able to sustain the product and the enterprise actual practice, because they have to look after that data point. It's quite cool. Yep, getting production, you've got to have us. Board reporting is down here, board report is directly from LeanIX, is pretty good, and also the diagrams have to be in LeanIX. I've now insisted that you must draw them there. I'd only want the current, future ones. I don't want all the bits in between that's in your Confluence, Jira stuff. And lastly, I got a guy in this thing with the business GM, he said, I saw my tongue dig upon, he goes, have you had a look at LeanIX? Thought it was a great end to the story. And I said, yes, I have heard about it. Have you? And that's it. So, hope you enjoyed it. I'm around for a while longer, but that's our journey in LeanIX. It's been superb. It's been about 12 months to get this far. It's at the point now where it's running, but building the process to sustain the quality of the data is the hard part we found. How do you make sure they keep on at it? Because as soon as it's wrong, it undermines everything else. And that's where we are. So that's me for today. Thank you very much for your time.
Neil, what's your wife's name?
Karen.
Karen, let's look right down the barrel. So Karen, that was a very good little icon you had on the, because you're going to show her this later, aren't you?
Oh, she's seen it.
Okay, but yes, Karen, everyone in the room approved. That was fantastic. You know, when you said LeanIX, it's never finished, you know, you reminded me of that joke about Sydney. It'll be good when it's finished. It's just so much construction.
There is, yes.
But the thing is, there's so many things that you could do, you just get them done one at a time.
Correct.
Right.
You can't build everything at the same time.
Exactly. That's what I absolutely love. And so what would be if you're saying to everyone, I challenge you all to do this one particular thing when they get back and start, you know, disseminating everything they've learned to their teams, what is the first thing everyone should do?
Find the key measure that everybody else needs that they can't get. Because then you are making yourself indispensable.
Well, you're the dot connector then.
Absolutely.
Very nice. We did not prepare that one earlier. Thank you again, Neil.